everybody. I am just waiting to go live on Facebook. Yes, it is Friday. I hope that everybody has had a wonderful week. I know it's been a good week on this end. Yeah, it's been a pretty good week. It's starting to get a little bit warmer. Spring's going to be coming at the end of the month, which is really exciting. For those of you that do subscribe to my newsletter, I did just send out my newsletter March 1st. That's going to give you some more information on some of the new services that I have, some products of the month. I believe I put in there too about the spring detox, as spring is a perfect time to cleanse, detox. You know what? Actually, it is going to be called something different. It's the 21-day ignite. I believe for me personally, I feel like detox has started to gain a negative connotation. So it is now the 21-day ignite using the power of whole food nutrition. So this is completely conducive to your athletic training, can actually even enhance it because it's using the power of whole food nutrition, a lot of antioxidants, a lot of good stuff that can really, especially right before your main season, those that are triathletes before your main season, this is going to be really beneficial for you. All right. So with that in mind, I am going to introduce myself. Hello. My name is Drew Mulvey. I'm a certified dietitian nutritionist. I am a board certified nutrition specialist. I am a certified LEAP therapist, which is a specific food sensitivity protocol based off of mediator release testing. It's about 92% accurate and specific for those particular food sensitivities. It's it has been very beneficial for IBS, any sort of inflammatory conditions such as IBD, migraines, and athletic performance. I've done this on myself twice, and I have really seen an amazing benefit with this particular test as opposed to other tests. So I highly recommend it if this is something that you want to really boost your athletic performance. I am also a precision nutrition level 1 coach, which is more holistic sports nutrition. It's really cool. I am a certified personal trainer, and I am a candidate for the certificate in integrative sports nutrition. So integrative and functional sports nutrition from the Center of Integrative Sports Nutrition in the UK. So I'm really increasing my level of knowledge with sports nutrition. My passion is to work with overachieving athletic females, which I do currently, to increase their energy and stamina and athletic performance, really enhance their athletic performance through individualized testing, supplement, and personalized meal plans and meal plan templates that will get you to your goals and reaching your goals. With all that in mind, we're also really honing in on your relationship with food to really improve that, to see it as fuel and as fun. So all of those different components together really make for the whole entire athlete, and creating those good mindsets around the food as well, that it can really be therapeutic for actually emotionally. Yes, it can. Wasn't going for that one. I was going to say therapeutic physically for your athletic endeavors. But speaking of relationship with food and how it can be physically beneficial for you, I am going to be speaking today. This is the continuation. So last week I talked about the power of quercitin, particularly antioxidants, and why they are beneficial for your system, especially for the lengthening and the shortening of your muscles. That's muscle contraction and muscle lengthening, so that you're able to run, you're able to move faster in general. And when you have those antioxidants, you're not going to be fatiguing as soon. I am going to talk about that a little bit today because one of the foods, actually both of the foods that I'm talking about today are very high in antioxidants, but I am going to re-emphasize that particularly with one of them. Last week, we also talked about the power of cherries as well, that they have important compounds in there that actually help to decrease muscle and joint pain, particularly joint pain, whereas decreased markers of C-reactive protein and I can't even say that one, so I'm not even going to say it. It is a marker of joint pain and joint inflammation in those with rheumatoid arthritis. I've tried to say it before. I'm not going to try to say it. So I know my boundaries. with that in mind, today I'm going to be talking about two of my favorite foods. And actually, I will I will tell you how to incorporate these into your nutritional routine when you're training. This is something that I incorporate into my diet. I shouldn't even say diet, my nutritional routine. I absolutely love it. And putting these two foods together, I absolutely love. So today I'm going to be talking about chocolate and beets in particular. I know some people see this face. That's exactly the reaction I get when I see beets. But there are other ways to incorporate beets into your diet as they can actually be very sweet. There is sugar, beet sugar, that is derived from beets that is very sweet too. So there's other forms that you can incorporate beets into your diet so that you don't have the earthiness taste. But anyway, first one I'm going to talk about is my absolute favorite. There's always an excuse to talk about chocolate. Yes. Cacao particularly, but chocolate. So why do I love chocolate so much, and why can it be really beneficial for athletic performance? Well, okay, it's very emotionally satisfying. That one I wasn't going to throw in there. It's very emotionally satisfying. But we wonder that when we're stressed, why is it that we are craving like chocolate? Chocolate's actually a really good source of magnesium. Now, magnesium is important for preventing muscle cramping. It's important for heart rate and heart contractility. It is important also for detoxification. And if you're not detoxifying things out of your body properly, that can start to accumulate and create low-grade inflammation, which you really don't want. That can actually hinder your recovery because it can hinder the production of new muscle and the repairing of muscle too. So it's really important that you're getting that into your diet. Magnesium, speaking of physical health, is very important for the absorption of calcium. Now, last week I talked about the importance of calcium in regards to muscle contraction and lengthening, as if there's any sort of decrease in calcium, that can affect those calcium channels, which helps with those contractions and can create fatigue earlier. So calcium is going to be very important for those muscle contractions as well as for bone health too. So magnesium actually helps the absorption of calcium, so that can improve bone health as well, and probably muscle contractility, as well as actually calcium is an electrolyte, which we're going to be talking about in a different segment. I'm telling you, I have a lot of things that I just want to share with everybody, and I'm really excited. So with that, magnesium is also very soothing. It's very calming to the central nervous system. So we wonder why when we're stressed out, we're craving some chocolate. Well, because of that magnesium, it's going to help to soothe us and to calm us a little bit more. And we need, especially as athletes, we need a little bit more magnesium and potassium anyway, because magnesium and potassium, when we're under increased states of stress, they can actually get depleted in the body, which can affect your heart rate, which can affect how soon your muscles fatigue as well. So very important that you're getting enough of that in your diet. It can also be found in green leafy vegetables. There you go. Threw a new one at you. I shouldn't say threw, but threw an extra one at you. So chocolate also is a very good source of antioxidants. In particular, they have, I should say, compounds and flavonols that actually can help with cognition. One of the best things that can help with cognition is to enhance cerebral blood flow to your brain. Blood is carrying all these nutrients, but it also carries oxygen, and your your brain really uses up that oxygen in a good way to be able to signal things in your brain. So that's going to really help with cognition. Why is that important? If something happens in the middle of a race or in the middle of a game, we better know what to do. We need to think quickly. We need to have that motivation there. So by incorporating that chocolate in, you have those antioxidants to boost that brain power. Your focus is going to be a lot quicker. And more than likely, if your brain power is more enhanced, then your movements are going to be more enhanced too. So with that in mind, and it could also be, it's an increase for your active lifestyle. So increase in recovery. Yes. So I was talking about cerebral blood flow before. Yes, chocolate actually does help with blood flow, but I want to go into more detail about that with beets, because actually both of them do contain a certain compound that helps with another okay, now I'm probably confusing you. A compound upon a compound, I'm talking about it in beets. So anyway, chocolate, because of their antioxidants, can actually help to improve muscle recovery and athletic performance. In fact, there was a recent study, which I would like to read from. It's elite athletes were put through a rigorous 120-minute workout consisting of aerobic exercises, strength and tactile drills, and a warm-up. In this particular study, it showed a decrease in markers of oxidative stress and muscle damage in those that were consuming dark chocolate as opposed to the non-cacao consuming control group. Interestingly enough. So the researchers actually attributed this to its polyphenol content. So the polyphenols are really important for decreasing those inflammatory proteins. I talked about C-reactive protein last week and how that can be linked to heart conditions. It can also be linked to impaired muscle recovery. So this is where that muscle recovery comes in. Love chocolate. I usually incorporate it after my workout, or I shouldn't say that because here's a little tip from Drew and a little tip from what my routine is. I actually have cacao powder as like a cacao latte before workout because it has a little bit of caffeine in it as well. So you've got the antioxidants and you've got the caffeine, and bam, and you got a little bit of magnesium there, and that's really been helping me a lot. I usually have that in conjunction. Sometimes it depends on the type of workout that I'm doing. Sometimes I have a slice of toast with some jam and I have that on the side, or I have a protein powder. Like this morning I had some protein powder with little bit of almond milk and a tiny bit of I was gonna say coconut oil, but coconut water in there too for some extra electrolytes. So that's a great way that you can use cacao, is that you can actually have it as a latte before you work out for a little bit of caffeine as well as a little bit of those antioxidants. Now, another wonderful one that I really like in particular are beets. So as I was saying, some people give me that very interesting look when I tell them beets are really good for athletic performance. Okay, yes, but as I said, there are other ways. Usually how I recommend this. So beetroot juice is what I've been seeing in a lot of the research studies that they've been giving to particular athletes. Especially from articles that I've been reading from the International Journal of Sports Nutrition in particular. And I am going to refer to some of those articles because they were really great articles. But what do I love so much about beets? Now, here's the compound upon the compound. All right, so beets are an excellent source of arginine, but they also help to produce nitric oxide. Now, arginine is actually that precursor to nitric oxide. Arginine can also be found in avocados as well. And this compound nitric oxide, what it does, it actually helps to dilate those blood vessels. So that's also chocolate helps to with the production of nitric oxide, which will help with that cerebral blood flow and help with that focus and brain power. But nitric oxide has actually been shown to not just dilate the blood vessels and deliver oxygen and nutrients quicker. I have all of these. Okay, so it has been shown to obviously improve blood flow, improve muscle contractility, it improves mitochondrial respiration. What the heck does that mean, Drew? That's the body's ability to be able to generate and produce energy effectively. It reduces blood pressure. It, as I was saying, increases oxygen and nutrient transport to the muscles and the organs. It can enhance athletic performance, as the articles that I was reading was showing. Also, nitric oxide helps to repair skeletal muscle by regeneration after muscle damage has occurred. Interesting. So really, AKA, it helps with recovery after athletic performance, which is really cool. Now, here's something that's probably not as well known. So I've dabbled into traditional Chinese medicine and a little thing called food energetics and how food has an energetic effect on your body. And there's I'm not too into it. You probably want to talk to somebody who is a Chinese medicine practitioner practitioner, acupuncturist, they will know more about this. But there's cheese, yin, yang, feeding each of those energies, and food can be a byway to be able to do that. Now, according to traditional Chinese medicine, beets are very warm in thermal nature, but they're important for stimulating the spleen qi. So that's your vitality, and that's also nourishing to your body. This can be incredibly important, especially we're overstressing our bodies a lot when we're working out all the time. So by having warming foods such as beets can really help us with muscle recovery. It can help us even with our mood too. So symptoms of any sort of block in spleen qi can result in indigestion, brain fog, and lack of blood flow in particular, especially those athletes that are endurance athletes. What's very common is the female athlete triad, where those particular athletes, they limit the amount of food that they're eating, or they don't know that they're not eating enough, they're not fueling properly, and that leads to a lack of menses, and then that can also lead to osteopenia, osteoporosis. So very important that you're letting your body know that it can adapt to the stressors on the outside. There's adaptogens for that. That could be another thing. If you want me to talk about that, I could do a whole thing about adaptogens. But what this does in particular is it can help with that blood flow in a different way, because it's very nourishing to your adrenals and very nourishing to your body. And that helps to calm it down. So that's why I also love beets as well. Beets are also a great source of antioxidants. So here we go. I was talking about antioxidants last week. Why are antioxidants so important? Well, if you have a low antioxidant status, those sodium and potassium pumps and calcium channels are not going to work effectively on your muscles. And those are responsible for lengthening and shortening of your muscles, particularly contraction and then release. That will lead to onset of fatigue much sooner than you want. So you want to make sure that you have proper antioxidant status going into a long race. If you're an ultra marathoner, you might actually want to have a little bit of those antioxidants in there, because you're going for longer periods of time to prevent that fatigue, along with your electrolytes, along with even greens are a good source of plant-based calcium as well. So if there's some electrolytes that you can get with all of them, that might even be good too. Again, I'm just throwing out little freebies here. But in particular, why are these important? Well, you want to be able to have a good level and not be over it. So you need a particular level of respiration for the mitochondria to work. You actually need oxygen to be able to work, and that's going to be a byproduct. Some of these reactive oxygen species are going to be a byproduct of the mitochondria creating the energy. So does that mean that you have to blunt the effect? No, there's actually been research that has shown high levels of vitamin C during a workout can actually blunt the effect of the mitochondria, so you're not being able to generate energy. So you need to have a balance. And I'm going to read some of the quotes from one of the articles that I was just reading. In fact, in unfatigued muscles, an optimum level of ROS is necessary for muscle fibers to generate 100% of their maximal isometric force production. Force production, what do we think of? Strength training. We think of when we hit the ground and when we run and we're pushing off. That's going to help us with our stride and to propel us forward. Conversely, if the levels of ROS increase above a certain point, the muscle's ability to generate force decreases. So you need to make sure that you have a nice balance of those antioxidants. It's going to come into play, especially after when your body is trying to recover from that intense exercise. So there's the initial inflammatory phase where those inflammatory proteins come in to help to repair the muscle. So you don't want to blunt that. But there's the secondary inflammatory response. And this secondary inflammatory response may therefore accentuate the loss of force production and the decreased range of motion, and seem to be strongly involved in delayed onset muscle soreness, which ultimately affects exercise performance. So what does that mean altogether? Yes, you don't want to go too high on the antioxidants, but you want to have a nice balanced level coming in so that you're recovering properly, delaying that delayed onset of muscle soreness. So delaying that muscle soreness and helping your muscles to repair as well. Super important. So with that in mind, I gave you a little bit of background about the antioxidants. Beets are actually a very great source of antioxidants, particularly polyphenols. Some of these include gallic acid, which gallic acid can actually help to improve insulin sensitivity and glucose regulation. This is also in blackberries as well. Blackberries are a good source of this gallic acid. This is really, really important because when your cortisol levels are up and you're not recovering properly, then that can make the cells a little less insulin sensitive. When your cells are a little less insulin sensitive, well, insulin is responsible for lipogenesis. It's going to be harder to lose weight, but it's also going to make the glucose continue to circulate around the body, and that can create more inflammation and decrease muscle recovery. So you've already got cortisol, and then you got blood sugar just circling around, and it's just a perfect storm. So it's really important that you're incorporating sources of this gallic acid, such as beets, to help to decrease it and that help with that insulin sensitivity, so that the insulin and the blood is, or excuse me, blood or glucose is being taken up out of the blood. But so this is interesting. When you are in the middle of a competition, especially a long one like a marathon, you're going to need those carbohydrates and you're going to need that blood glucose. So, but insulin sensitivity at that time is usually elevated because your body just needs the glucose and it just sucks it right up. It's pretty cool. I should do a meme about that. But in fact, the beets also have other polyphenols in them. Another one that's really coming of importance is the betalains, which these are a particular set of antioxidants that gives beets their red pigment. This pigment, this compound, is what's responsible for its really anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effect, especially in a recent study. It was shown to improve the ability of athletic performance and protect against oxidative stress because of this antioxidant capacity and anti-inflammatory capacity. I've actually been, I think I was talking with somebody recently and they were saying that this comes in a supplemental form. Again, when you are taking certain compounds and they're in whole foods, you have things with other compounds as well. So there might be a different metabolic effect, but this really helps with the protection against that oxidative stress, which, as we read later, that secondary inflammation is what can really decrease the effectiveness of muscle recovery. But speaking of something that's very, very similar, beets are also a very good source of betaine. Now, betaine is a metabolite that is formed from choline, which is a particular B vitamin. Choline can also be found in egg yolks, which is actually in my freebie. The eggs is one of the most beneficial foods for athletic performance. Now, this is not only beneficial for the production of dopamine, so betaine helps, it's one of the cofactors. There's a pathway that helps it produce dopamine, and it's one of the cofactors. Dopamine is responsible for focus. It's responsible for your circadian rhythm. So sleep, that's when you're really going to be recovering, for mood, and also for appetite control. But interestingly enough, betaine has been found to be a potent anti-inflammatory. In fact, in a recent study done on young soccer players, those supplemented with betaine increased their 1 rep max, so strength, 1 rep max, so the ability of how much you can actually lift, VO2 max, and that's measures of an athlete's aerobic capacity, fitness, and peak power. It's their oxygen intake. So that means that they can start running faster and faster, and their heart rate is going to be less and less the faster. I shouldn't say it that way, but your body starts to adapt to those demands and your oxygen uptake is better. So you can actually start going faster, where you're maintaining heart rates. How do I want to say this? That you're getting faster, but you're getting faster in your zones of heart rate, pretty much. Pretty cool. There was improvement in muscle strength, as I was saying, with the 1 rep maximum, and in sprint intervals. pretty cool. Yeah, that one in particular, I found on the International Journal of Sports Nutrition. This one in particular, these lovely individuals were supplemented with betaine. I believe it was with beetroot juice too. There was another study I was going to incorporate in CrossFitters with beetroot juice particularly, but that was done on men, and it was looking at the ratio of cortisol to testosterone, because increased testosterone, decreased cortisol. I was talking about that when cortisol is elevated, it can shunt the production of sex hormones to that in particular. So, okay. So with that in mind, so what would I do to incorporate both of these? You probably guessed it. Put it in a protein shake. One of my favorite performance, or I should say post-workout shakes, includes beetroot powder. I really like Human or Amy Meyer's beetroot powder. Make sure that you're getting a good source of beetroot powder because it can be very high in heavy metals. Berries, again, very high in antioxidants. Cacao. I put cacao powder in there with some chocolate protein. It could be a good source of chocolate whey protein. I also use Truvani, which only has about 6 ingredients in it. There's some other protein powders that I really like too, but quality is really going to matter with that. A little bit of non-dairy milk in there. Sometimes I throw a banana in there for a little extra sugar, especially because you've been running for a really long time or you've been doing your event for a really long time. And sometimes I do put a little sunflower butter in there because it is a good source of vitamin E, which is another potent antioxidant as well. So that is one way that you can do it. Or I have a wonderful recipe called recovery yam brownies that is available in my cookbook called the No Title Cookbook, a label-free approach to whole food cooking. Now, you can DM me if you would be interested in that. Yes, I have my own cookbook. I have a bunch of different recipes, smoothie recipes, overnight oat recipes, soups, plenty of desserts. But yeah, the recovery yam brownies are in there, and uses a little bit of that beetroot powder in there and the cacao. That's why I called it recovery yam brownies. So amazing. And it's a whole food. It's a whole food version of a brownie, and it tastes amazing. Absolutely love it. All right. So with that in mind, so a little wrap up of today, that chocolate and beets are excellent food sources, or excellent whole foods that you can incorporate in for athletic performance and muscle recovery. Chocolate is a great source of magnesium to help prevent muscle cramping, of antioxidants, particularly polyphenols that help with brain power as well as muscle recovery. We've got beets that are an excellent source of nitric oxide, which helps to deliver oxygen and nutrients to the organs and the muscles quicker. They're also a very important, or they contain important antioxidants such as gallic acid, which can help with insulin sensitivity, and the betalains as well, which is probably the most potent antioxidant, anti-inflammatory in the beets, as well as compounds betaine, which can be made from choline, another B vitamin, which is another antioxidant and shows potent antioxidant properties. Now, we're speaking of antioxidants. I have just incorporated something into my practice, and I do want to talk a little bit about it. So, the power of stem cells and stem cell activation. What do stem cells do? Well, stem cells are responsible for pretty much putting everything together in your body. And after the age of 30, you only have about 50% left of your stem cells. And then when you're 50 and later on, it starts to decrease. So you really want to make sure that you're using something that's going to help to reactivate those. Now, I have just incorporated these into my practice. These are the LifeWave X39 stem cell patches. These use 4 different light therapies to hit crystals in the little patches and then send wavelengths into your body that actually help your body to regenerate those stem cells and to repair itself and heal itself. These have also been shown to decrease or I should say enhance heart rate variability, which is a really good indicator of athletic performance and particularly how you're recovering as well. This is very good for its manipulation with copper. So have you seen those copper gloves or the copper knee bands? There's usually some sort of copper sleeves that you can put on, and that's been helping to decrease inflammation. this can help with that as well. So I have personally been using these since December. My testimony with these, I almost fractured my tibia. Everybody knows that. I was in a boot for about a month and on crutches. And I put this on my tibia, and after the third day, I was starting to walk a little bit, but after the third day, I was having significantly less pain while I was walking, and I was starting to be able to walk at an angle. About a month and a half ago, I tweaked my shoulder when I was rock climbing. I put the patch on my shoulder in the back here, and I was able to swim the next day, and that pain was gone. Last week, I was doing reverse lunges and my knee started bothering me. So thing about me, 2 years ago, I actually hurt my knee. I dropped a dumbbell on top of my knee during CrossFit, and it acts up from time to time. I put the patch on there and I don't have knee pain anymore. So I am really a believer in this. There's so much other research that is available out there. So if you go to start39x39.com, that will give you all the research articles, and I've sent it out in my newsletter as well. Highly recommend this. You can, if you want to get a free sample, so a free sample patch, please DM me. If you're interested in learning more about this, then please ask the question away in the DMs as well. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that this was very beneficial for you. Also for the month of March, it is National Nutrition Month. So there is going to be a freebie that is associated with this. That is Best Foods for Athletic Performance for Female Athletes, my little ebook for you. So you will be getting that. I will put that in the comments below. For those of you that are on Instagram, I'm sorry, you won't be able to click on it, but if you copy and paste, you will have access to that document. All right, everybody, with that in mind, I thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Drew Malvi. I'm a certified dietitian nutritionist. I'm a board certified nutrition specialist. I'm a certified lead therapist, which is a specific food sensitivity protocol based off of mediator release testing. It's 92% accurate and specific and has been very beneficial for any sort of inflammatory conditions such as IBS, IBD, migraines, and even athletic performance. I'm a precision nutrition level 1 coach, certified personal trainer, and I am a candidate for the certificate in integrative and functional sports nutrition through the Center of Integrative Sports Nutrition in the UK. I personally work with overachieving athletic females to enhance their stamina, energy, and athletic performance through individualized testing, supplement routines, as well as meal planning and meal plan templates. But most importantly, I really help you to build a great relationship with food so that you see it as fuel and as fun that is conducive to your training. So you really get a whole body and whole mind approach of an effect with this as well. And speaking of which, I do have an enhanced program where we have a mind portion and we've got the physiology portion known as the Lady Warrior Athlete Program. Yes, I have so my associate Dennis Paul, who has joined me a couple of times, we have put together an amazing program that we meet every single week. It's a 3-month program. You look at the physiology and you get the mind, and man, whew, those are 2 recipes for athletic success and life success. So I will also put that link in the comments below for those of you that are on Instagram and on Facebook. So with that in mind, please DM me if that sounds like you and you really want to enhance your athletic performance. You really want to show up in a new way this season. Let's do it. Please set up your icebreaker call with me today. For those of you on Facebook, I'm going to put it in the comments. For those of you that are on Instagram, it is available in my bio. All right, everybody. Thank you so much again for joining me. I hope you all have a wonderful Friday. Take care. Bye-bye.